We continue now at the top of Daf Ayin Chesam and Beis in Meseches Zevachim. This is Zevachim Daf 78b. On the previous Amud, Reish Lakish said that no sein tam beruba, let's say something imparts taste in a majority, the thing it's imparting taste to is a majority, so that's lav doraisa. We would not say that we follow the taste on a doraisa level, but rather we would follow the taste only on a derabanan level. And the Gemara asked on this on the previous Amud, from the halacha by matzah on Pesach, it says over there that as long as it's no sein tam, so then one can fulfill, as long as one of the 5 grains is no sein tam, even if it's into a majority, one can fulfill his obligation of eating matzah on Pesach. And so you see that no sein tam beruba is doraisa. And so the Gemara continues and says, Elo, rather, what Reish Lakish actually is saying is as follows. Min b'she'eino mino, if it's 2 different types, so then b'taima, then actually we do follow the taste, meaning to say, even if the taste is being imparted into something which is a majority, but the taste is going to be enough to say that that minority is not batal. We actually would say that it's not nullified. But min b'mino beruba, but let's say it's items, foods of the same type, so then we follow majority, then we do not follow the imparting of taste. Rashi explains, Elamin b'she'eino mino, sha'atam nikor bo. If it's 2 different kinds of food, so then the taste is recognizable. B'taima, you can recognize that taste. Mechayev, so then that would create a liability. V'loki min haTorah, if it would be a situation of Isser, the person could get malchus on a doraisa level. V'chiyama Reish Lakish b'pigul v'nosor shel min v'mino. When Reish Lakish said his halacha that there is bittul if there's a majority, so that was talking about a situation of the same type of food. To lekol l'meika matayma, there you can't tell the difference in taste. V'lo sishma minon no sein tam berov lav doraisa. You can't learn from what Reish Lakish said that no sein tam berov is not doraisa, because again, if it would be different items, different food items with different tastes, so then we would say no sein tam berov is in fact doraisa. And the Gemara continues, Unishayr min b'mino kemin b'she'eino mino. But why don't we consider the min b'mino as if it were min b'she'eino mino? Titanan, just like we learned in our Mishnah. Nisarif b'yayin, it says in our Mishnah, let's say the blood mixes with wine. So ro'en oso ki'ilu humayim, we view the wine as if it's water, and then we have to determine whether if it would have been water, would this still look like blood or not? If it would still look like blood, so then it's kosher in terms of the application of the blood on the mizbeach. Otherwise, it's not kosher. But you see that there's a concept of rowan. We can view the wine as if it's water. My lav, is it not? Rowan oso liyayin ki'ilu humayim. Doesn't the Mishnah mean that we view the wine as if it's water? And so the same thing should be true in a situation of min b'mino. We should view it as if it was min b'she'eino mino, and then we should say that if it were min b'she'eino mino and it would impart a taste, so we should say it's not nullified. Rashi explains, Unishayr min b'mino kemin b'she'eino mino kevon dehecha dekamina natayma kol kama duyov taima lo batel. Since we say if it's imparting a taste, it's not nullified, so kilekal mekam nami. So when you're not able to discern the taste, let's say it's min b'mino, amay mizalzalinan bi'isuri lemahadru levatlan barov. Why are we so mizalzel by prohibitions that we say it's nullified in rov? Name a rowan. We should say the same concept of rowan. We should view it ilu haya min v'she'eino mino. If it was min v'she'eino mino, hayesh bo heker time, where there would be a recognizable taste. So hashtanami lo nevatel adarab all of kolkach keshir bittul shel min v'she'eino mino. We should say here also, it's not going to be batel unless it's so much that the taste, that it would have been nullified even if it would have been min v'she'eino mino. We should say exactly what we said in our Mishnah. We should say over here as well. My lav, is it not? Doesn't our Mishnah mean ro'in la'oso yayin ki'ilu mayim, where we view the wine as if it's water? V'im mare dam haya nikor behen kosher. And again, if it looked like blood, had it been water, it's kosher. Al ma'af agav de min b'mino. So you see, even though this is a case of min b'mino, because they look alike in terms of the blood and the wine, linyan bitula de chazus, in terms of nullification of how it looks, lo amrinon livatel barov. We don't just automatically say that it's batel in majority. Elamisharinon le kamin b'she'eino mino. We do an evaluation as if it was a situation of min b'she'eino mino. Isn't that what we see from our Mishnah? And the Gemara says, lo, no, you're interpreting our Mishnah wrong. The Mishnah actually means ro'in oso lidam ki'ilu humayim. We view the blood as if it's water. In other words, we simply look at the blood and say, if that's the minority, if the majority is the wine, so the blood is batel, it's batel berov. We view the blood as if it's like water, as if it's not good for application on the mizbeach. That's all that the Mishnah means. Rashi explains, Lo no, rowan oso ledam ki'ilu mayim. We view the blood as if it's water. Upasul, and therefore it's disqualified. Debatale berub, it's nullified in majority. Hoelu vaser chazusas lina, because we do follow what it looks like. V'hachaleko lemekam aledamilsa batal beruba. Here, you can't tell in terms of what it looks like, because wine and blood look the same. So therefore it's batal berov. That's all that our Mishnah means, and therefore you can't apply that to our situation. And the Gemara continues and says, but if so, if that's what the Mishnah means, so batal mi baile, it should have simply said that it's nullified. It should have said the blood is nullified. What does it say? Rowan, that we're applying some type of concept of rowan. So it doesn't really make sense to say that rowan means we view the dam as if it's mayim, as if it's water. And the Gemara continues, V'yod, and further, Tanya, we learned in a Brisa, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, Rowan oso ki'ilu hu yayin edom, we view it as if it's red wine. This is talking about a situation of immersing something in a mikveh, and there's some white wine that's in the vessel, so we view it as if it's red wine, and we say as follows, Imdiyo mareu kosher, we say that if the water that goes into the vessel during the immersion, if that's enough to take away the look of the red wine, had it been red wine, so then it's a kosher immersion, and the vessel is pure. And if not possible, we say that it's disqualified. So you see over here in this brisa, we do have a concept of rowan. And the Gemara continues and says, Tanoihi, this issue of rowan is actually a machlokas tanoim. The Tanya, as we learned in a brisa, Deli sheyeshbo yayin loven or cholav, you have a pail, it has white wine or it has milk, v'etvilo, and it's immersed. Holchen acher harov, we follow the majority as long as the water is the majority, so then it's pure. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, rowan, so again we apply rowan, we view it ki'ilu hu yayin edom, as if it's red wine. Imdiya mareu kosher, again if the water would take away that look of red wine, then it's kosher. V'imlav, and if not possible, it's going to be disqualified. And so you see that this issue is actually a machlokas tanoim. But the Gemara continues, Uramini, we have the following contradiction on this. This is from a Mishnah in Mikvos. It says, Deli shum mole rukin. Let's say you have a deli, you have a pail, and it's tamei, and it's filled with spit. Ve'etvilo, and it's immersed. Ki'ilu lo taval. So that's not a good immersion, and it is not purified. Mei raglayim, let's say it has urine inside of it. So rowan oso, so then we apply rowan. We view it ki'ilu hein mayim. We view it as if it is water, and we say that the purification is going to be effective. And mole mechatos, let's say it's filled with mechatos, which is the water. Mechatos are the waters of purification for Tomas Meis. So then ad sheyirbu hamayim al mechatos, then we apply majority. As long as the water is majority over the mechatos, then it would be purified. And the Gemara says, Man shamatle de islay rowan. Now, who's the one that holds to the concept of rowan? Because clearly this Mishnah is applying rowan in the situation of mei raglayim. It's Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda is the one that holds of rowan. That's what we just said above. The Katani, but yet it also says in this Mishnah, the sagi le baruba, that majority is enough, and apparently we're not applying rowan at the end of the Mishnah. Amar Abaya says, lo kasha, it's not difficult. And Rashi explains, Ki'ilu lo taval, again, if it's rok, if it's spit, so then it's like it's not immersed. Shaharok avhu, the reason for that is because spit is thick. V'chotzetz b'fnei hamayim, that's considered a separation from the water. Ve'ino batal b'mayim, and it is not nullified in the water. Umole lav dafka, now the word mole over here, it says it's filled with spit. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be filled. Ela aidi deboy lemisni mole me raglayim, but since the Mishnah is going to have a case of urine where it's filled with urine, the dafka, there it does have to be filled. The ashminon ribusa, because there we're teaching a chiddush. The lo boy live to linu the kevan she'avru meha mikva al piv v'noshku laosan shebesocho. There we say you don't need to nullify in the case of meiraglayim as long as the waters of the mikvah go into the opening of the vessel and they touch that which is shebesocho, that which is inside of the vessel. Nasu chibor lahem, it becomes chibor, it becomes attached. V'tahir and it's metahired, it purifies it. The meiraglayim min mayim hein, because there by urine we say urine is considered a kind of water. So tani nami mole rukin, that's why it also says it's filled with spit, but it doesn't actually have to be filled with spit. Rowan oso kilo hein mayim, we view it as water. Kilomar, what that means is afal pisha marein choluk mixas mimari shar mayim, even though urine looks a little different than water. Afilo achi kevan de min mayim hein, nevertheless, since it's a kind of water, lo boy ruba livetule, you don't need to have majority over there for nullification. Elo rowan oso, rather we apply this rowan, and mole mecha mechatos, let's say it's filled with mechatos, hoel vehein av hatuma, since they are considered an av hatuma, v'chashivi, mishum kedusha sayu, they're considered chashuv, they're considered important because of their kedusha, lo b'teilin ela baruba, so there, they are only going to be nullified if there's a majority. Ad sheyirbu hamayim ein tefila ola lekli, ad sheyishboch mehem, yoser mechetzio shel kli, over there, the tefila will not be effective for the vessel unless you pour out more than half. That way the water of the mikveh will be majority over the mechatos. And Rashi continues, Man shamatle diamar rowan oso Reb Yehuda. Who's the one that holds of rowan? It's Reb Yehuda. The shamatle diamar rowan oso kilu shani mimar shalo. Again, we saw earlier that Reb Yehuda says rowan. V'katani heicha deshavim mara habatel amara mevatel. And what does it say over here? It says that if the look of the thing being nullified, it looks the same as what's nullifying. Kagon mechatos, for example, like the mechatos shein marei and cholak, they don't look any different than the other water. Tesagi leila mevatel baruba. But we say that it's enough for the mevatel to be majority. We don't say that we view it as if it was red wine in order to be strict, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Ayin Tes Amud Aleph.